discretion is advised for this educational documentary. Welcome back to Dark Case Documentaries. I bring you true crime, disturbing stories and other things that you may later regret knowing, with regular uploads every week. Please do join the quickly growing Dark Case family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Just a heads up, I'm uploading every single day for the rest of the year, so make sure you don't miss out. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. If your name is on screen right now, then you're a legend. Let's get straight into today's Dark Case. Kayla Brown was born on November 17th, 1985, in Anderson, South Carolina. Anderson, an affordable small city to live in, has plenty of sunny days and a lot of rural areas to explore. It's located in Spartanburg County, which is on South Carolina's northwest border. By the time she had reached adulthood, Kayla had put down roots in the area that she was born in, and she spent the next few years working various jobs in an effort to support herself. During this time, she met a man named Charles David Carver. Charles was going through a divorce, and he and Kayla instantly hit it off. Like Kayla, Charles had also been born in Anderson, and he was just 2 years older than she was. He worked as a printing machine operator at a local business. It was said that Charles had a winning personality, and he loved joking around and making people smile. Kayla appreciated his light-hearted and easygoing attitude towards life, and within a few months of starting their romance, Kayla and Charles had already moved in together and were fully dedicated to their new relationship. Like many couples in their early years, they appreciated having some extra income to help with their general finances. Existing is pretty expensive. So in 2016, to help with their finances, Kayla decided to take a job cleaning houses for a man named Todd Kohlhepp. Kohlhepp lived in a near 100-acre rural property in Spartanburg County. Although they weren't close, Todd had been one of Kayla's Facebook friends for years. Kohlhepp was a fairly well-known person in Spartanburg County. This was since he was a real estate agent who was doing quite well for himself. So with his successful career in property, it made sense that he might need help cleaning homes, for instance, so they would be ready for listing on the market. During the next 3 months, Kayla cleaned approximately 4 or 5 homes under Todd's employment. To make the jobs go faster, she brought Charles along with her so the two of them could clean the homes together. During this time, Todd was nice and polite to the couple, just as a professional in his field of work would be expected to be. In August of 2016, Todd told Kayla he had another cleaning and maintenance job for the couple, but unlike the other jobs, this one would be his own personal property. When the two of them got there on August the 31st, Kohlhepp had to come out and unlock the gate alongside the road that safeguarded his property. As Kayla and Charles got past the gate, Todd then locked it behind them. Kayla just assumed this move was to keep any animals that he might own from roaming off of his rural and rather isolated property. So after entering the property, Kohlhepp led the couple to a secluded and roomy 2-story garage. This was situated nearly a mile away from the road. He provided the couple with hedge clippers and bottles of water and said that he needed some underbrush and weeds removed from a nearby trail. When the couple walked outside the garage ready to get to work, Kohlhepp said he had to go back inside to grab something and that he would be right back. And when Todd Kohlhepp came back outside, he was holding a firearm. As soon as he walked outside the garage, Kohlhepp immediately pulled the trigger whilst aimed at Charles 3 times. He was struck in the chest, ending his time on this earth. It took a moment for what had just happened to register with Kayla. An ordinary day had just turned into a horrific nightmare. Everything seemed utterly surreal. Right after calmly shooting Charles, Kohlhepp grabbed Kayla. He dragged her inside and cuffed her by the hands and feet. He told her that if she didn't cooperate with him, that she would share the same fate as Charles. She was then moved to a small storage container nearby, and once there, she was chained by the neck. The storage container was extremely hot and completely dark when the door was closed. Kohlhepp left her in there alone for a few hours before finally returning. Kayla was told if she tried to run or fight back, that he would end her life as well. And then Kohlhepp disgustingly violated her. As days passed, loved ones of Kayla and Charles noticed they weren't returning any text messages or phone calls that were sent to them. Panic started to set in. What could have happened to the beloved couple? The families eventually contacted the police and let them know that Kayla and Charles were believed to be missing. Family and friends were puzzled. They found odd posts that began showing up on the couple's social media accounts. The posts seemed to imply the two of them had gotten married, bought a home, and were doing well. But if they were safe and well, why were neither Kayla nor Charles returning any of the messages sent by their loved ones? The situation seemed to be growing increasingly strange. Authorities did search for the couple, but seemingly they could turn up no concrete leads. In the weeks that followed, authorities had tracked the last cell phone signal that Kayla had to a general area in Spartanburg County, and they discovered from Facebook records that the couple had been taking odd jobs from Todd Kohlhepp. They noticed that his land was in the general area where Kayla's last signal came from, so investigators obtained a search warrant for Todd's property. On November 3, 2016, police arrived at the property and heard banging emanating from a shipping container, and it was there they found Kayla, still chained around the neck. Police would say she was chained up like a dog. For all of this time, Kayla had been held captive, and she was repeatedly violated by Kohlhepp. This ordeal lasted for 2 months before she was finally discovered by authorities. Kayla immediately told police that Charles had passed away after Kohlhepp had shot him. Kayla also informed authorities that Kohlhepp had once walked her to 3 apparent graves that he had dug for other victims on his property. He told her that if she attempted to escape, there would be another grave for her. Kayla was freed from her metal prison after authorities worked to remove the chains, and Kohlhepp was soon arrested for abducting her and for causing Charles's death.
Okay, so you're searching my house and my car. Okay. He's got a copy of the search warrant. He'll show you the copy. He'll show them to you, and he'll leave you a copy. Taz, she's gonna pee.
No. Nervous.
Do you want to help yourself and tell me where the body's at so we can go recover Charlie's body? No, sir. You don't want to? No, sir. Okay. Why'd you shoot him? I didn't shoot anybody, sir. Okay, why'd you lock her in a container in your property? I was talking about. She's on your property right now, locked in a container. They just got her out of they called it a specific name. Connex box. She was locked in a container in a Connex box. They got her.
After his arrest, more shocking discoveries were made on his property, bringing national attention to the case. 2 more deceased victims were found and identified as Johnny Joe Coxey, who was 29 when he went missing, and his wife, Megan Lee McCraw Coxey, who was in her mid-20s at the time of her disappearance. As a result of the search warrant, many weapons were found on Kohlhepp's property by authorities. These included semi-automatic rifles and pistols fitted with suppressors. It's believed that Kohlhepp bought the weapons through illegal means, because he was unable to buy them for himself because of a past offense. Authorities would discover that Kohlhepp already had a serious criminal history and a long indication of troubling behavior trailing back to before Kayla and Charles went missing. In 1987, when he was just 15 years old and living in Arizona, he was arrested and convicted of the kidnapping and violation of a girl, someone who was only 14 years old at the time. When he was sentenced, I guess coincidentally, to 14 years in prison for that crime, the judge had noted that Kohlhepp had displayed dangerous and aggressive behavior, and he had been doing so since he was a little boy, and that this behavior didn't seem to be improving. Even at a young age, there were plenty of signs that Kohlhepp might present a danger to others. During his interaction with the juvenile court system, a psychiatric evaluation was completed on him as a result of the crime he committed when he was a teenager. That evaluation noted all kinds of disturbing behavior that Kohlhepp had displayed throughout his childhood. This included using a BB gun to shoot a dog, killing a fish with Clorox, purposely ruining other children's projects, and even using a hammer to destroy items in his own bedroom. As a result of that crime and the sentence he served, Kohlhepp had to register as a sex offender, and this continued even when he later relocated to South Carolina. But it's unclear how many people he interacted with in South Carolina actually knew about his checkered past. After Kayla was found and Kohlhepp was arrested, authorities told him that they had found Kayla on his property. Now captured by the police, Kohlhepp agreed to confess to ending the lives of other victims, but only if authorities followed his requests. And his requests were that he would be allowed to speak with his mother and break the news to her about his crimes, to give his mother a picture, and to move money to a friend's child's college fund. The authorities complied with these requests, and then Todd Kohlhepp did indeed admit to the kidnappings and killings. But police got much more than they bargained for. Kohlhepp confessed to the still unsolved murders of 4 people: Scott Ponder, Brian Lucas, Chris Sherbert, and Beverly Guy, all of whom were found at a business called Superbike Motorsports on November 6, 2003 in Chesney, South Carolina. Chesney is a very small town located in Spartanburg and Cherokee counties, so the quadruple murder shocked everyone who lived there. Kohlhepp had been a customer of Superbike Motorsports before the 4 workers were deceased, but he had never been a person of interest or even questioned in the case. Until, that is, authorities figured out he was responsible for Charles Carver's death on his property and for his crimes against Kayla. Although authorities had allegedly previously contacted Kohlhepp to ask questions about the Superbike Motorsports murders shortly after they happened, he supposedly simply never returned their calls. It's absolutely crazy to me that this man got away with murder by simply not returning a phone call. Anyway, investigators noted that many former customers of Superbike Motorsports also didn't contact authorities as they were asked to, so Kohlhepp's reluctance to speak to them didn't really raise any concerns. Authorities ran background checks on the customers of the motorbike showroom, but they said that those checks didn't reveal any indications that any of them would commit a crime of this magnitude. It was later learned that Kohlhepp had an issue with the shop after he bought a motorcycle there on April 16, 2003. The bike was stolen soon after he bought it, and he made statements that he believed that Superbike Motorsports was involved, although there was no evidence that this was the case. Kohlhepp said that he also felt that employees of the shop were rude to him, so he decided to bide his time and get his revenge. During his confession, he provided police with details of the crime they hadn't released to the public, further supporting his claim that he was responsible for it. He explained without remorse or feeling how the whole ordeal unfolded. But Kohlhepp wasn't done yet. He also confessed to killing Johnny Coxey and Megan McCraw Coxey, the other deceased people who had been found on his property. The Coxeys were a couple who lived in Spartanburg, and police were notified on December 22, 2015 that they too were missing. Kohlhepp had hired them too to do some odd jobs at his property. And also, like Charles, Johnny Coxey had been killed first, while Megan was kept alive for approximately 1 week longer. By the time the investigation had concluded, Todd Kohlhepp's list of unknown murdered victims had grown to 7, although he has since claimed that there are additional victims that police have just not yet found or linked to him. Kohlhepp faced plenty of charges in court. This included 4 counts of murder for the shootings of the 4 employees, and 3 more counts of murder for the Coxeys and Charles. He was also charged with 2 counts of kidnapping, multiple counts of possession of a weapon that was used during a violent crime, and more. Since he was facing potential capital punishment, Kohlhepp agreed to take a plea bargain to avoid receiving the death penalty. He pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including 7 counts of murder on May 26, 2017. Kohlhepp received a sentence of 7 consecutive life sentences, with no possibility of parole. After Todd Kohlhepp received his sentence, Kayla began working hard to put the trauma she had experienced beside her. In 2018, she was awarded $6.3 million in damages as part of a lawsuit filed against Todd Kohlhepp's estate. Do you think the punishment fits the crime here? What do you think could possibly be done to avoid something like this happening again in the future? And if your child was given money for college by someone like Todd Kohlhepp, would you accept it? Let me know down in the comments. Remember, I'm uploading daily until the end of the year, but for now, be careful out there, and I'll see you soon.